A Laramie church elder who called out a transgender student by name on a sign is back presenting in the University of Wyoming Student Union. Frustrated customers of Charter Spectrum in Wyoming are missing their favorite Disney-owned shows and sports events. And while the Meeteetse Pitchfork Ranch can trace its history back to 1878, a Texas company founded in 1883 claims it owns the Pitchfork name and is suing. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily. A Laramie church elder who called out a transgender student by name on a sign is back presenting in the University of Wyoming Student Union after a recent injunction lifted a ban on him being there. Todd Schmidt is suing the university and President Ed Seidel, alleging his free speech rights were violated when he was banned from the Wyoming Union for a year in December after he called out a transgender student by name on his table sign. While the lawsuit is ongoing, a federal judge issued an injunction lifting the ban August 18th. So Cowboy State Daily's Greg Johnson said that on Friday, Schmidt was back at the same place he's spent most every Friday during the school year at the University of Wyoming since 2006, manning a table in the student union, proselytizing about God and salvation.
He set up at the table just like normal, set all his materials up, put up a new sign. It did not have anybody's name on it. It was fairly innocuous. He spoke with some students, and most students kind of walked past, but he's back in there after having the ban lifted.
Those legal issues are still making their way through court, but in the meantime, Schmidt said he plans to continue to be at the Wyoming Student Union on Fridays. An attorney representing the state of Wyoming in a lawsuit challenging the state's 2 new abortion bans is asking a Teton County judge to disregard a series of pro-choice expert witnesses. Jay Jurdy, Special Assistant Attorney General for Wyoming, has filed an argument asking Teton County District Court Judge Melissa Owens to ignore a series of experts that a pro-choice coalition is paying to try to prove that the state's 2 new abortion bans are unconstitutional. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland breaks down the arguments.
The pro-choicers want a Jewish rabbi and a Christian faith history expert and a prosecutor and a doctor to call out what they perceive as flaws in the state's abortion bans. And Wyoming, conversely, is just saying, it's only a question of law. None of this is even relevant.
Both bans, one on marketing any drugs to induce abortions and one on nearly all abortions, are not in effect now because Owens has blocked them from being enforced during the lawsuit challenging them. Well, frustrated customers of Charter Spectrum in Wyoming are missing their favorite shows and sports events as a contract dispute between the cable company and Disney continues into a second week. Customers tired of waiting for Disney and Charter to make a deal are looking instead at ways to cut both companies out of their television watching loop, as more than 24 Disney channels, including ESPN and other sports programming, suddenly went dark last week with no advance warning. Customers who are caught in the middle say they've had enough. Many are giving up on both companies and eyeing new streaming television options instead. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Federal prosecutors charged a Casper man Thursday with 2 drug crimes after a McDonald's restaurant reported him for allegedly doing drugs in the bathroom. Crime and Courts reporter Claire McFarland says police agents already had their eye on Albert Gaines, who's 20 years old this year, and whom they believe to be heavily involved in drug and gun trafficking. So when a McDonald's employee called the police about a couple using drugs in the restaurant's bathroom, law enforcement was able to identify the suspect as Gaines and track him to his apartment.
The police in Casper found him at an apartment complex and arrested him, and then they later searched the apartment and allegedly found so many drugs. And then in a car that the man's girlfriend claimed the man had been using for the previous day, they also found several guns.
McFarland reports that when officers arrested Gaines, he still had his McDonald's receipt from the time of the report. Gaines faces up to 40 years in prison and $2 million in fines if convicted. Well, the Natrona County Republican Party is calling out the anonymous owner of the website YORhino.com for a debate next week with outspoken state political observer Rod Miller. YORhino is a conservative political ranking website that ranks all 93 state legislators in Wyoming by their adherence to the Republican platform. The website has gained considerable favor in populist conservative circles around the state in recent years, and its data has been referred to during various political debates. Political reporter Leo Wolfson said he's spoken with Joe McGuire, the chair of the Natrona County Republican Party, who says he doesn't really expect the person that's behind the website to show up.
But he's optimistic and he thinks it'll be a fun event and encourages lots of people to come. There will be a few legislators who will be speaking at the event who have been targeted by the website as well. And then, of course, Rod Miller will be the debater if they do show up. And either way, he is going to be the MC of the event. So it should be enjoyable, entertaining time.
And the Meeteetse, Wyoming Pitchfork Ranch goes back to 1878, but a Texas company founded in 1883 claims it owns the Pitchfork name and it's suing. Cowboy State Daily's Kevin Kelo reports that the Texas-based Pitchfork Land and Cattle Company is demanding that the Wyoming ranch give up the name and repay profits made under it.
They argue that they were actually the first to trademark the name Pitchfork, as well as the three-pronged symbol that both the company's logos contain. And so they are asking for a judge to stop the Meeteetse Ranch from using the trademark and to provide them with any profits from sales resulting from that trademark.
Although Wyoming's Pitchfork Ranch organized as a corporation in 1998, according to the company's website, its founder, Otto Frank von Lichtenstein, broke ground on his first cabin and began ranching in the Grable River Valley in 1878. Ben Anson, Pitchfork Ranch manager, said the challenge is finding the documentation from the 19th century to support their claim to the Pitchfork name. And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, offering the best and most complete news coverage in Wyoming. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.